Welcome to Herman's Hot Takes, Eyes of the Dragons, chapters 11 through 20. All right, we're going to do these chapters, not quite a summary, but we're going to go through it character by character because a big chunk of these chapters is mostly character development. Again, King, all over the place with these chapters because they're still filling in background. It's taking him up to 20 chapters just to give us background before we take off in the story. 19 and 20 will start to take off in the story, but 18 chapters of background, little tidbits. I'm going to tease you with stuff to get to the story. First off, we're going to start with my favorite, Roland. I really love Roland. He's kind of a minor character, the king. He'll be more of a minor character as the story goes on. I'm not really spoiling anything, but God, he cracks me up as a king. He's just, he's just a fun, wants to have a good time guy. He knows his limitations. He knows he's not smart. He knows he's not attractive. He knows he's weak. He knows he should be stronger. But he just, wants to enjoy life. And we see that in the chapter where they're having the farmer's lawn party. And it says most kings showed up, said a few words and left. They didn't like to hang out with the people. Not Roland. Roland loves the farmer's lawn party. He loves hanging out with the people. He loves drinking the beer. He's super excited for Peter, who's in this three-legged race, and he's yelling and screaming and cheering for his kid, totally acting unkingly-like. I also love the chapter, and I think this is 11, where he's talking about, we're back to the dollhouse, and whether Peter can play with this dollhouse. And Roland thinks harder and longer about him playing with that dollhouse than he has ever thought about anything in his life. It says that. He spent more time thinking about whether or not Peter should be allowed to play with a dollhouse than anything else in his life. Come on now. That's what you spent all your time thinking about? That's why I love Roland. Also, there's a little cryptic message at the end of this chapter, I hope you're noticing that Stephen King likes to leave little cryptic messages at the end of most of his chapters. He just drops these little bits and you're like, wait, what did I just read? He leaves a little cryptic message at the end of that chapter telling you that Roland thought super hard about that dollhouse and that Flag was like, all right, it's just a dollhouse. I'm not going to fight him on it. And then King says, would that be important later on? It's up to you to decide. Well, okay, the dollhouse is probably going to be important later on if you're telling me it might be. Duh. Of course. So let's first talk about Peter. Peter, we hit hard in chapters 13 and 14 are all about Peter. He's great. He's wonderful. The quotes about Peter are, there was apparently no meanness in Peter. And Peter had gotten the best of both worlds, his mother's brains and his father's love of the common folk. Love him. They love him, love him, love him. He wins prizes. He's best friends with a kid who's not royalty, who he shows he can like all people. He's just the best. Then chapter 14, more Peter development, tells us all about how he saves this horse. Saves a horse. Everybody thinks the horse should die. He stands up to the king's groomsman. He's like, don't kill the horse. Stands up to the vet. He's like, we're not going to kill the horse. He gets whipped for it. They talk about Roland has to whip him. And Roland, I should have put this in the Roland section. Roland says that hurt him more than it hurt Peter to whip him because Peter is his favorite. And he foolishly thinks that nobody else knows that. Everybody knows that Peter's his favorite. You're not hiding it, Roland. Anyway, so then everybody loves Peter. The story of Peter saving the horse goes wild. He's brave. He's got the heart of a dragon are the quotes about him in that one. Everybody loves him in that one. So then we turn from great Peter to chapters 15 and 16, younger brother Thomas. I mean, come on. We all know where this is going. Thomas cannot live up to Peter. I mean, we just heard how great Peter was. He's phenomenal. He's great. He's marvelous. He's Roland's favorite. Everybody knows he's Roland's favorite. And then there's Thomas. He's not good looking like Peter. He's not smart like Peter. He's really good at archery, it says. That is the one thing he has. He's better than Peter at archery. So we know that. But he thinks that everybody blames him for his mom's death. He's like, everywhere I go, everybody's looking at me thinking I killed my mom. Well, there's some dramatic irony for us kids, because we know that Flag, through Anne Crooksprow, killed his mom. That was a big chapter in here, which we'll talk about in a minute. Look, I'm like Stephen King. We'll talk about in a minute when we talk about Flag. Thomas makes this boat for Roland. He works so hard on it. It looks terrible. Roland can't figure out what it is, but he tells this sweet story about how one time he got to hang out with his dad and they sailed model boats and it was the best day of his life, and his dad hugged him and laughed, and he just wants that day back. And he can't get that day back, and Roland kind of dismisses the boat, talks more about Peter finally winning an archery contest, even though Thomas has won a bunch of them. And you're super sad for Thomas. Like, your heart should be breaking for Thomas, until Thomas is sad and he goes out back and he sees this dog, and the dog's all hurt and hanging out. And unlike Peter, who saves the horse, Thomas picks up some rocks and stones and kills the dog. Kills him. Kills the dog. See you later, dog. And you're just like, wait, what? What just happened? This kid just killed the dog? I don't know if I'm on board for that. All right. A couple things to notice with Thomas and how Stephen King refers to him. He's not a good boy, not a bad boy. He's a sad boy, a confused boy, an unlucky boy. Even after he kills the dog, Stephen King's narrator says, I don't think he was a bad boy, but that will be up to you to judge. Well, I don't know about you, Stephen King, but I think he's a bad boy. Like killing the dog. Again, though, who do we refer to? What creatures do we call good boy, bad boy? Dogs. And so Stephen King is pointedly making it so we know Thomas is like a dog, which goes back to the story that Sasha told Peter, be like God, not like a dog. Thomas is like a dog. He's constantly referred to in this story as good boy, bad boy, confused boy, sad boy, unlucky boy. The boy is always thrown at the end with him. All right. Next character that we get the background on is our friend Flag. Flag, we learn, is basically evil incarnate. He is the devil. He's been coming in different forms to Delaine for hundreds, maybe thousands of years. We're not sure. King says even storytellers can't go back that far. He always shows up with a different name, different job, different everything. This time it says his goal is complete overthrow of the monarchy, a bloody revolt that would plunge Delaine into 1,000 years of darkness and anarchy. So really that's all he wants. Not a whole lot. We get the background story of how he killed Sasha. We learn that this woman, Anne Crooksprow, comes to him and is like, hey, my son's super sick. He's got this disease. Can you cure him? Flag's like, sure. Cures him. He's not nice about it, but he cures him, and then says, I'm going to want a favor from you. And so about 10 years later, she's a midwife, somebody who helps deliver, children. He calls her in. Hang on, I got the 2 quotes you need to know from that section. Let me see if I can find my quotes. Okay, here's the 2 quotes from that section. Flag called for her and whispered in her ear. So Sasha's giving birth to Thomas. Flag calls for her and whispers in her ear. And then later in that section, it says, no one saw the one small cut she made. So Anna Crooksprow cuts the queen during the delivery, and the queen bleeds out and dies. So, that's how Flag is able to kill the queen, through Anna Crooksprow. So we know Flag's a pretty bad dude. So Flag is evil. We've learned Peter is good. Hello, we're reading what we think is a fairy tale. Good versus evil. Peter versus Flag is what we're getting down to. So 19 and 20 are the setup for the good versus evil. Flag's kind of sitting there and he's like, oh, I'm kind of in a pickle. I'm in a pickle. I need a king that I can totally manipulate. And I've got that in Roland, but he's getting sick. And the next king is Peter. And Peter's good. Peter knows I'm bad. Peter's going to get me out of here. I don't want to be out of here. So I have to figure out a way to make it so Peter goes bye-bye. But I can't kill him because Roland will like search the ends of the earth to figure out who killed him, and Roland will figure it out because he's a good hunter. To the point where Flag is so nervous that something's going to happen to Peter on accident, that he'll be blamed, that there are times where he feels like he has to protect Peter. He's like, I hate this kid. I want him dead, and I have to protect him because I'm afraid I'm going to be accused of killing him. And it finally comes to Flag how he's going to do this. And we learn about this dragon sand that Flag owns, this poison that he keeps in this real elaborate box with this, plant that grows on it that'll kill you if you try to get in the box. This dragon sand that's highly, highly deadly poison, like horrible poison, like the worst poison ever. And we learn that every night, Peter, as a good son, brings his dad, Roland, a glass of wine, sits with him for a little bit and then leaves. And Flag's like, I'm going to come after Peter, bring a second glass of wine, give it to Roland. We're going to have that glass of wine. I'm going to poison him. He's going to die. And everybody's going to blame Peter because nobody's going to know I came with the second glass of wine. So now we've got this plan. We've got the plan. We know what Flag is thinking he's going to do. And we end it there. It hasn't happened yet, but we're finally getting into a story of some sort. All right, so there you have it, kids. 11 through 15. Hope you enjoyed, or 11 through 20. Hope you enjoyed it. I am. I'm getting intrigued. I'm ready to find out what goes down now. This is getting good. Bye.